Have you ever felt like your mind never truly rests? Like you're watching the world through a deeper lens, noticing things others seem to miss, asking questions that don't have easy answers. Maybe you find yourself lost in thought when everyone else seems content just being. You're there, physically present, but your mind is somewhere else, tracing the meaning behind a glance, the silence between words, the weight of an unspoken truth. If that sounds like you, then you already know what it's like to live with a mind that refuses to settle for the surface. You think about why people act the way they do, why things feel the way they feel, and why life unfolds the way it does. You crave understanding, not because you want to seem smart, but because it's how you connect. It's how you make sense of a world that often feels too shallow, too fast, too loud. But being a deep thinker isn't always easy, is it? Sometimes it feels like your mind is both a gift and a burden capable of profound beauty, yet haunted by overthinking, self-doubt, and the endless search for meaning. You see patterns in chaos. You feel emotions in layers. You can sense what others can't say. And while that makes you wise, it can also make you weary. Maybe you've been told you think too much. Maybe you've learned to hide your depth so you don't scare people away. But inside, you know your depth is your truth, the quiet ocean beneath everyone else's waves. So let's explore that together. Let's understand what it really means to be a deep thinker, not as a label, but as a way of being. Because your depth isn't a flaw, it's your fingerprint. Being a deep thinker isn't just about pondering big questions or analyzing situations until every detail is mapped out. It's a way of experiencing life. Imagine your mind as a vast, dimly lit room filled with windows, each one offering a glimpse into a different layer of reality. You peek through them, sometimes carefully, sometimes with urgency, noticing patterns, connections, and subtleties that others walk past without a second thought. Deep thinking lives inside you like a quiet companion, often invisible but always present. It shapes how you react to the world, how you make choices, and how you form bonds. When someone speaks, you don't just hear the words, you feel the undercurrents, the hesitation, the unspoken meanings. When something happens, you don't just see the surface, you trace its roots, its ripple effects, the invisible threads that tie it to other moments. Your life isn't lived in snapshots. It's a slow, unfolding story that you can't help but study. This depth gives you clarity, empathy, and insight. But it also asks for patience with yourself and with the world. It makes you notice injustice, beauty, and complexity in ways that can feel overwhelming. You may find yourself carrying more than your share of emotions or thoughts because you perceive what others don't. And while this can make your inner world rich and textured, it can also make everyday life feel shallow or frustrating at times. Being a deep thinker also shapes your relationships. You crave meaningful conversation, honesty, and authenticity. Small talk often feels empty or tiring. You notice when people are hiding, when they're pretending, and when their actions don't match their words. And sometimes you feel lonely in this, not because you dislike people, but because few can meet you at the level where your mind and heart live. Yet this depth is not a burden to be fixed. It's part of your wiring, your way of sensing and interpreting the world. It asks for understanding, self-compassion, and patience. You may struggle with overthinking or emotional overwhelm, but you also have the ability to see patterns, find meaning, and navigate complexity in ways others cannot. Your depth is a lens. It's a gift and a challenge. It is both the source of your insight and the root of your restlessness. And the more you understand it, the more you can live with it fully, not as something to tame, but as something to honor, cultivate, and move with. This is the inner world of a deep thinker. The way you think now deeply, relentlessly, sometimes painfully, didn't appear out of nowhere. It began quietly in the shadows of your early life, before you even knew what it meant to be different or aware. Perhaps you were a child who asked questions that lingered too long for others to answer, or a child who noticed things adults overlooked. The tension in a parent's sigh, the sadness behind a friend's laughter, the invisible weight of words left unsaid. Maybe you were the one who sat in a corner, content to watch, to imagine, to replay moments until you understood them fully. Early life, in many ways, is the soil in which your depth takes root. If your world was unpredictable, chaotic, or emotionally complex, your mind learned to adapt by observing, analyzing, and predicting. You became attuned to patterns because survival demanded it, whether it was navigating your family dynamics, anticipating moods, or trying to decode the silent rules of belonging. In those moments, your mind stretched beyond ordinary play or curiosity. It became a lens through which you could understand and protect yourself. Even if your environment was loving and supportive, your depth still grew. Some children simply feel more, see more, and wonder more. You may have been highly sensitive, absorbing energy, emotions, and subtle cues from your surroundings, like a sponge soaking in every vibration. You noticed discrepancies between words and actions, between appearances and reality. You felt the weight of small injustices, the hidden sorrows, the quiet triumphs, often before anyone else did. Your curiosity was not superficial, it was existential. You didn't just want to know what happened, you wanted to know why, how, and what it means. And because the world rarely gave simple answers, your mind grew restless, spinning threads and weaving connections. You were learning to navigate life with an inner compass that demanded more depth, more awareness, more understanding than most people were prepared to offer. This early shaping didn't always come with comfort. You may have been misunderstood, labeled as too serious or too sensitive. You may have been encouraged to stop questioning, to stop worrying, to just be a kid. And yet, no matter what anyone said, that inner drive persisted. It was yours, quietly, stubbornly, shaping your perspective, your emotions, and your sense of self. The deep thinker's mind often forms in tension, a mix of need and gift, challenge and insight. It grows in moments of observation and reflection, in the small, almost invisible experiences of childhood. A glance that conveyed unspoken emotion, a silence heavy with expectation, a question no adult could answer. These moments fed the roots of your depth. By the time you became aware of yourself as an adult, this way of thinking had become part of your identity. It was embedded in how you process the world, how you feel, how you connect, and how you survive. Your depth didn't arrive suddenly. It was cultivated over years of quiet observation, careful analysis, and sensitive perception. And while it gives you incredible insight, empathy, and imagination, it also carries echoes of those early struggles. The loneliness of being too aware, the burden of noticing what others ignore, and the constant drive to understand what seems beyond reach. Your depth is a map of your past, written into your mind, body, and heart, a map that guides you, shapes you, and sometimes challenges you. Because you feel so much and see so clearly, you've likely learned to wear a mask, not to hide your depth entirely, but to protect it. It's a careful, sometimes invisible layer, built over years of trial and error, shaped by moments when showing your full self felt risky, confusing, or too heavy for others to bear. Perhaps you learned to smile when you wanted to question, to nod when you wanted to argue, or to stay quiet when you wanted to speak. This mask became a tool, a survival mechanism. It allowed you to navigate classrooms, workplaces, and social circles without alarming others with the intensity of your thoughts or the weight of your perception. In a sense, it was brilliant. It let you exist in the world without being constantly exhausted by its noise, its chaos, and its superficiality. Yet, like any tool, it has a shadow. When you hide the depth that defines you, a part of yourself feels unseen. The world may perceive you as calm, composed, or even aloof, while inside your mind races, untangling complexities no one else notices. People may assume you're indifferent when in truth, you care more than anyone realizes. The mask protects, yes, but it also isolates. It creates a subtle tension between who you are inside and who you show the world. Your mask might take different forms. It could be the careful humor you use to deflect serious conversation, the polite silence you adopt in groups, or the persona of effortless confidence you project while quietly analyzing every nuance around you. You've learned to blend in, to meet expectations, to make life easier for yourself and others. And in many ways, this mask has served you well. It has prevented overwhelm, allowed connection without exposure, and given you moments of peace in an otherwise intense mind. But here's the truth. The mask is not your enemy. It is a testament to your adaptability, your intelligence, and your resilience. It shows that you have navigated complexity with grace, even when you felt misunderstood. It shows that your depth is alive and active, even if it remains invisible to most. And yet the tension remains. There's a part of you that longs to be fully known, to express the richness of your inner world without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. You may sometimes catch yourself retreating, feeling a quiet frustration that others don't notice the threads you see, the questions you ask, or the emotions you feel. That is the cost of the mask, the gap between internal reality and external perception. Understanding this survival mechanism is not about guilt or shame. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that the ways you've adapted are necessary and clever, but they also leave room for growth, for authenticity, for a deeper alignment between your inner and outer self. The mask exists because your depth demanded protection. And now, learning to navigate the world while slowly lowering the mask, just a little, just enough, is part of embracing the full spectrum of who you are. As a deep thinker, your inner world doesn't stay tucked away in childhood. It grows, evolves, and often asserts itself in ways you may not fully notice. In adulthood, it shows up quietly but persistently, coloring your experiences, your emotions, and your relationships. It can feel like an invisible current beneath the surface of your life, pulling you in directions others might never see. You may notice that you process experiences differently. A casual comment from a friend can spark hours of reflection. A fleeting glance or tone of voice can leave you analyzing intentions long after the moment has passed. Small events ripple through your mind, magnifying in ways that sometimes feel exhausting. You wonder, am I reading too much into this? Am I imagining problems that aren't there? And yet, your instincts often catch truths others overlook, guiding you towards subtle insights and overlooked possibilities. Your depth also makes you highly sensitive to the emotional climate around you. Crowded rooms, loud arguments, or negative energy can drain you, while moments of quiet connection, meaningful conversation, and sincere vulnerability recharge you. You notice inconsistencies, hidden motives, and unspoken feelings, not to be cynical, but because your mind naturally maps the invisible dynamics of the world. This can leave you feeling both wise and weary. You see more, yet others often don't understand the weight of that vision. In relationships, this depth manifests as both intimacy and tension. You crave connection that goes beyond surface-level interaction. Small talk can feel hollow, and shallow gestures may leave you unsatisfied. You yearn for people who notice the subtleties, who understand that silence carries meaning, that thoughts and feelings are layered. Yet, your insight can sometimes create distance. You may catch unspoken truths that others aren't ready to face, or notice flaws they prefer to ignore. This can lead to frustration, loneliness, or a sense of being too much for the people around you. Deep thinking also influences how you face challenges. You anticipate possibilities, consider consequences, and weigh outcomes long before taking action. This foresight is a gift, allowing careful, thoughtful decisions, but it can also fuel doubt and hesitation. You might replay scenarios endlessly, question your choices, or fear mistakes more than others do. Emotional triggers appear in subtle ways. A perceived slight, a broken promise, or an unresolved conversation can linger in your mind, magnifying its impact. But these manifestations are not weaknesses. They are markers of your inner depth, your awareness, and your capacity for empathy and insight. They remind you that you are wired differently, to observe, to feel, and to understand at a level that many cannot. You might ask yourself, how can I honor this depth without letting it overwhelm me? How can I engage with the world fully without losing myself in its noise? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward harmony. The next step is learning how to navigate them, how to harness your insight, manage your sensitivity, and embrace your depth as a source of clarity, creativity, and emotional richness. Living with such depth doesn't have to feel like a burden. Your mind and heart, as intense and sensitive as they are, can be guided toward balance, understanding, and peace. Healing isn't about changing who you are. It's about embracing your depth with care, learning to navigate it without being swept away by it. Start by giving yourself permission to feel. You've spent years observing, analyzing, and often hiding your inner world. Now allow yourself to sit with your emotions without judgment. When a thought lingers, don't push it away, explore it gently. Ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? Why does this matter? Even small moments of reflection, like journaling or quiet meditation, can create space for your mind to breathe. Self-compassion is another essential tool. Deep thinkers often hold themselves to impossible standards, quietly criticizing every misstep, every overthought moment. Imagine speaking to yourself as you would to a close friend with patience, understanding, and warmth. Recognize that your curiosity, your insight, and your sensitivity are not flaws. They are gifts that deserve care, not punishment. Reparenting your inner self can also help. Remember the child who watched, observed, and felt deeply, often without guidance or reassurance. That child still lives inside you. Offer them the comfort, validation, and encouragement they may have lacked. Let them know it's okay to feel deeply, to wonder endlessly, and to seek meaning without shame or apology. This gentle inner dialogue creates a foundation of security that strengthens your adult self. Boundaries are equally vital. Your depth makes you absorb emotions and energy from your surroundings more than most people. Learn to protect your mental and emotional space. It's okay to step back from conversations or environments that drain you. It's okay to choose who and what you engage with. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to clarity and peace. Finally, nurture your depth through connection and creativity. Seek relationships and communities that appreciate your insights. Share your thoughts, your reflections, your art, or your writing with those who value authenticity. Expressing yourself, whether through conversation, journaling, or creation, channels your inner world in ways that refresh and energize you rather than deplete you. Healing is a gradual process, not a sudden transformation. There will be moments of resistance, days when your mind feels too loud or your heart too heavy. Yet, every step toward understanding and honoring your depth is a step toward freedom. You are learning to live with your complexity without fear, to embrace your sensitivity without shame, and to use your insight without being consumed by it. Your mind, once a restless sea, can become a source of calm strength. Your depth, once isolating, can become a bridge to yourself, to others, and to life itself. By gently tending to your inner world, you cultivate resilience, clarity, and joy. You can navigate the currents of thought and emotion with grace, turning what once felt like a burden into a profound gift. As we come to the close of this reflection, pause for a moment and breathe. Let the awareness of your depth settle in. You are not too much. You are not broken. You are a mind and heart wired to see, feel, and understand more than most, and that is a gift. Think of yourself as a vast, hidden garden. Some parts are bright with light, some shaded and quiet, and some tangled with vines that need patience to unravel. Every corner matters. Every shadow, every bloom, every root tells a story of who you are, of the path you've walked, and of the potential waiting to grow. You have wandered through complexity, observed the subtle threads of life, and felt the weight of emotions that others might not even notice. This is your signature. This is your strength. It is natural to have moments of doubt, of overwhelm, or of loneliness. But even in those moments, remember this. Your depth allows you to connect with truth, meaning, and beauty in ways the world often overlooks. You notice patterns, you sense emotions, you imagine possibilities, and that is rare. You carry wisdom not just in knowledge, but in perception, in empathy, and in the subtle attention you give to life's quiet details. Let this awareness empower you. Your mind, once restless with questions, can now be a compass guiding you toward clarity and authenticity. Your heart, once heavy with unspoken feelings, can now open to connection and understanding. You have the capacity to honor your inner life while engaging with the world without fear or apology. Every thoughtful pause, every reflective question, every quiet observation is part of your unique way of being. Imagine walking forward in life carrying this depth as a lamp, not a burden. It illuminates what is unseen, reveals the threads that tie experiences together, and allows you to navigate complexity with grace. You may still encounter confusion, still wrestle with overthinking, still feel the pull of solitude, but now you can meet it with gentleness, knowing that your insight is valuable, your feelings are valid, and your presence matters. You are allowed to be both intense and peaceful, reflective and joyful, sensitive and strong. Your depth does not make you fragile. It makes you alive, aware, and capable of profound connection. It is not something to hide, not something to tame, but something to embrace, cultivate, and honor. So take this with you. Your mind is a gift, your heart a compass, and your depth a bridge. You have navigated the inner world with courage, and you can continue to do so with grace. You are a deep thinker, yes, but more than that, you are a human being capable of love, insight, growth, and wonder. Carry your depth forward, not as a weight, but as a light. Let it guide your choices, deepen your connections, and enrich your experience of the world. Trust that every layer of thought, every nuance of feeling, every quiet reflection is part of a life lived fully and profoundly. You are enough, you are seen, you are growing, and your depth, your beautiful, intricate, expansive depth is exactly what the world needs.